Life, existence, in the present moment, here and now, is not imagined. In a short period of time, once this story here and now that is being, offered in a time-based, sequential way, and when this period of time and this body stops talking, closes the device, go make a cup of tea, that what I imagine now remains recorded as a story. The story is not true, but the existence in here and now is absolute truth. The portrayal of what is taking place, is it necessary? Do you have to have some sort of story? Does your mind have to keep telling you what you are, where you're going, what you're doing, to make something beautiful out of it? Or is life not just beautiful being here in a body? Why do we have to make stories? I mean, this speaker said a couple of videos ago that it's concluding and going to fix the traumas of its life. Just another diluted part of the story, as is this. The minute you stop with this chapter, the chapter of speaking on YouTube, another chapter begins. But it's the space between the chapters that makes some sort of sense to the mind. It reveals a shift within itself to say, this chapter over, that next chapter has begun. But in this space you realize that it's just a story. You're witnessing a story about what we call a personal me, a personal individual component of a whole existence. So the idea that reality, truth, infinite life ends is not true. The chapters that wants to make something out of it begins and ends, but in the transcending, it realizes there's a way that the mind can make up beginnings and ends. That's the chapter close the book. We've come up with the words, the terminologies, how to describe that what is not true. This what is taking place in the present moment, here and now, cannot be anything but true. But the idea that we have a mind that says, okay, let me explain it to you how it is, like every speaker does. I'll tell you about consciousness. I'll tell you about non-duality. I'll tell you about enlightenment. I'll tell you about awakening. I'll tell you about spirituality. I'll tell you about religion. I'll tell you about the human body. I'll tell you about nature. I'll tell you about the universe. I'll tell you about science. I'll tell you about anything that the mind knows. And the mind has made it up. It's like that child. How can I get in the game, you know? There's a group of boys and girls are playing football in a park. And the child is watching at the sidelines, and the boys and girls don't even recognize that there's a child there. They continue with the game, they're having fun. And the child wants to participate with the game, but he doesn't know how to participate. Can't just run on, can't just, doesn't even know their names, doesn't even know what the game's about, but the child wants to participate. So it's in its mind, it says, I have to make something up about what I know so that I can have some sort of acceptance. They will start looking at me, and they may invite me into the game. And if they don't, I'll prove to them, I'll justify I know what they're doing. The story is created by itself. And realistically, the child should just run onto the playing field and be part of the game. But it can't, because it's been conditioned into saying you have to be worthy. You see, you have to be like me, like us. You have to know, you have to learn before you can participate in this game of football. And it's come to the point now that we have to learn and justify and make ourselves worthy just to be alive. You see? No one out there is expecting another to justify being alive. But your own mind develops an insecurity, a fear, that I don't deserve to be here unless I can justify who I am. And that's what we do, and our human disease of creating more identification parades, I had a wonderful story from a young person. And their experience with banking. Now, remembering that this young person's experience of banking is a modern day version of banking. So this young person can use a mobile phone and press some digits and transfer money from this account to that account, and doesn't have to get money, the actual cash. They can just pay it online, so that there's no hassle. Everything's great, everything's free. And that modern day way of life is fantastic. To the older generation, it's lazy. It's up for hacking, you see. And what happens is that young person was asked by the bank to provide more versions of justifying who they were. So it's a kind of funny story. To the older generation, they'll understand it. To the younger generation, they won't. So this young lady said, I can't believe it. Why people would want to go into my account and take my money and force me into justifying and proving who I am to the bank in case they think I'm a fraudster in my own bank and my own money. She said, I used to have just a PIN, a number, my bank account number, my sort code number, and a PIN, a private PIN. Then they asked me to provide a voice message saying I am the person, I am whatever, so that the voice could actually determine who I was. And she said, and then the third account, we may have to have photo recognition. So now I have to provide a PIN, a password, a bank account number, a voice, and a photograph of me. I would be just as well going into the bank and speaking to a lady so that they can see me, they can hear me, and I can write my PIN or press my PIN in front of her and get my money. But I'll have the hassle of having to go to different places to pay the bill. Everything goes round in circles, you see. Words go round in circles, stories go round in circles, the mind goes round in circles, thoughts go round in circles. And eventually you get used to being in this circle. And the circle is the samsara of appearing and suffering, and then appearing and being fictitiously taken to some event in the past that's not even happening now, through a memory system that we create just to pacify that we will remember who we are as this fictitious mind appearing in a past story. And I'm still here, thankfully, and the story will go on, you see. So now I'm forgetting about the present moment. Now I'm forgetting about the here and now. Now I'm forgetting about reality. Because I'm concentrating so much on the story, so much on the banking experience, so much on the past comparing to the future and the future comparing to the past. I'm comparing words, I'm comparing my story against your story, and we're all comparing stories, and we have become a book. But the book is dead, you see, because the book can be burnt in flames, and the book is, even the libraries, they don't hold your books anymore, you see. AI life cannot be experienced. If you want to stay out of AI life, just live for the moment. Live in presence. You'll understand the story about past. You'll understand you have a story. No one can remove their story, even in an enlightened state. Once that enlightened state takes a trip away onto the next lucky victim or unlucky victim, however you see it, your story returns. It's just a it's not even a fairy story. It's just stuff. It's a mess of words in comparison to reality. This is reality, you see. When the video is finished, the reality will be somewhere in the room drinking tea. And there'll be no concerns about this, or what's going to take place next, or trying to sort out that fictitious traumas that we think into existence, into reality. It may have been a real trauma at the time, but the mind, it wants to make something out of it. It wants a keepsake. It wants a name on a tombstone. It wants a name in Wikipedia. It wants a shelf in the library. These are all fictitious flirtations with the mind. Do you know every day, every moment, right now, this I, this person, this body, whatever I am beyond that, is flirting with the mind. It's just having fun with the mind, you see. So is it serious? You know, that's the quality of your mind. The quality of your mind will make it serious, or no, it's just fun. We're just having a laugh. Either way, it's the mind. The mind of identity, the mind of words, the mind of relationships, the mind of attachments, the mind of beliefs, the mind of hopes. The speaker's not saying we must all be free of this story mind. What's your mind? It's not yours, actually. You know, I'm not involved in conspiracy theories because we own our body and we take ownership of the mind. Okay? So whatever this mind is, whether it's a satellite dish, like U.G. Krishnamurti says, a systematic way of controlling human beings. You know, we have, whatever we are, has complete power over the thinking mind. You know, in deep sleep, there's no mind, there's no thinking mind active. But there's something knows it's sleeping. Yeah, but you don't know till you wake up how good the deep sleep was. No one ever complains about deep sleep. Deep sleep is just an example of how life is when you're awake, or how life is or should be when we're awake. The only thing is, it's not dark. The eyes are operating, the nose, the ears. The senses of the body are operating to the nature of what we are projecting from ourselves. We're living through ourselves as ourselves. Deep sleep, you can call it a recharging battery for the body. You can call it a clue to reality. Reality in the present moment, when there's no thoughts, is the same as deep sleep, but the body is active. The sensory system is active. The consciousness is looking and observing at relationships of what it is, of projections of what it is. So in wakefulness, I am this body. I am the device. I am the one looking into the device and the one looking back from the device. I am the trees behind me, sparse now, as they're being chopped down. I am the sky. I am the window frame. Whatever I perceive, I become. Because that's what I want to become. You see, if you want to become something other than a human body, that mind will operate through words, associations, meanings, and give you another samsara look at possibilities. When you look at the device and see a reflection of yourself and see the trees and see the sky and the window frame, and you know that it's you that's looking and it's all about what you've perceived, and suddenly deep sleep comes in, that's truth. Consciousness is absolutely as it is in that moment of reality, realizing the truth of life, and within your body you start glowing. And you glow with the mind's knowledge that nothing can overpower you. Not even the losing of the body can overpower that what you are. Not even the dissolution of the universe can overpower that what you are. But when we what's the word? Rely on the mind takes the power away. It gives you the mind that thinks, it says this mind is powerful, but it's conning you into something that you foolishly believe, and you take ownership. I believe I am this powerful mind. And when something sees through the mind of I, that what sees through the mind says to the mind, no, with no words, of course, I see no power in you. You are powerless. All of this a story, and I am not the narrator. You are Mr. Mind, and you can go to hell. But you're so powerful, when the mind walks away saying, see if you can do it without me, you say, no, I'll tell you what, I'm more powerful than you. I can tell you to leave. You can go to hell. But I'm keeping parts of you that I want, that I need to remain active, emotionally, sensory, glowing as the consciousness that I am. It's good to be back. Namaste.